hard to capture, extravagant, resurrect the track and it's militant. And I react like a convict and start killing. It's manifested. The God's work like appliances, dealing in my sacred life.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explained here, bringing you guys a discussion about Boruto Chapter 44. So, obviously, if you've not read the Boruto manga, then this is the time of the month where I am going to be talking about spoilers. So, if you're an anime only, I thank you for your support. Over 80% of the content on the channel is spoiler-free. If you want to read the manga and do so in a way that helps support the channel, I'll leave links down in the description box for you guys to do so. So, without any further ado, if you're still here, I'm going to assume that you're okay with me talking about spoilers. So upon rereading Boruto Chapter 44, one thing kind of started eking into the back of my head, which is I think that there might be some type of a healthy compromise between these theories that Kashin Koji's Jiraiya and these theories that Kashin Koji is like a clone or he's something else. And I know there's been like 9,000 people who have done videos of, oh my god, Kashin Koji's a clone, oh my god, Kashin Koji is Jiraiya. Hell, I did a couple videos on Kryptonian saying I think that there's a possibility, and I think Anime Balls Deep and myself have done 2 videos on his channel about it. So I mean, I'm guilty as anybody else. However, after rereading the chapter, I decided to go back and reread the moment when Kashin Koji attacked Team 7, and this is something that kind of hit me and made me believe that I think that he's a cyborg, not an android like Delta. So there's a huge difference. Delta's clearly an android. Her whole body is robotic for the most part. Like when Naruto blew her up, that was it. That little drone on the back of her body flew off, and I guess it contains her consciousness, and it went into one of those other pods. It makes a lot of sense. Delta, triangle, there are 3 bodies. All that makes sense right there. It makes total sense. But with Kashin Koji, the reason why I think that he is a cyborg, so a human being who's been biomechanically enhanced, right? So like 17 and 18 from Dragon Ball. The reason why I think that this is the case is when you go back to the chapter where you had Kashin Koji fighting against Konohamaru, when Kashin Koji used the Rasengan, the very first thing that Konohamaru says is that that wasn't a scientific ninja tool, that was actual chakra. How does this guy know the Rasengan? And I'm not saying it's Jiraiya, but what I am saying is that if they decide to go that route, it does kind of in the way make sense that Jiraiya's body could have been biomechanically enhanced and he retained some of his memories. That's the whole reason why he says, my destiny has always been in Konoha, fates pull me closer and closer together. That could be one route they would go, but I think if you do that, you run the risk of disrespecting the legacy of the character of Jiraiya. So if you go the clone route and then you go the route of it being a clone and a cyborg where his body's been enhanced, then all of a sudden that makes a lot of sense. And there's another hint towards him actually being some type of a cyborg and not necessarily an android, because Kashin Koji, when he sees Delta get essentially deactivated, where Amato says like, hey, Delta, go to sleep, and then Kashin Koji looks at Amato and he says, holy shit. And then he has that internal monologue where he's thinking, he says, there's probably a failsafe like that inside of me. I wonder if my body was modified like that as well. All of that makes a lot of sense. And if the story does go that route, all of a sudden it makes sense why Kashin Koji can use chakra and why he's pumping out chakra and using jutsu that he has to be taught, and not using jutsu because of a scientific ninja tool because his body's been enhanced. All that will make a lot more sense if you go with that clone slash cyborg type of a spin-off branch. And then the other thing is when it comes to Boruto, the big theme about the story of Boruto from the Naruto Boruto movie onward is that it's tackling this theme of technology. Is it good? Is it bad? Actually, this stuff started back into the Naruto Hiden novels. That was something that was addressed in those novels. So it could be one of those things right there where they're starting to tie together everything and they're saying, is science a bad thing? Is technology a bad thing? It depends on how you use it. And so having a clone, which is something Orochimaru was doing in Naruto Gaiden, having that clone and having it being enhanced like that, it's going to be further kind of pushing along this narrative that Amato is somebody who's surpassed Orochimaru when it comes to that type of technology. He's surpassed Katasuke, someone who's a genius and did the scientific ninja tools. He's surpassed so many people and he's so fucking advanced. I think that that could be something that we could see actually happen. And part of the reason why I kind of compared to 17 and 18 from Dragon Ball is that even though their bodies were biomechanically enhanced, they still have their own ki, just like you have Kashin Koji where he has his own chakra network. So I think that there are some similarities there. I think that that would be a good way to push the story forward, as well as push together this theme about technology that the series has been kind of hammering home. I think that this would be a good way to tie back into the fact that when we saw Kashin Koji for the very first time, he was introduced in that arc, in the Owl arc, where the whole theme about that arc was Boruto learning that technology is only as bad as you make it. And so to have Kashin Koji show up at the end of that arc and then have this revelation like this, that would make a lot of sense. And then if you do decide to go the route of this is a clone of Jiraiya, you're at least able to keep Jiraiya's legacy intact, because there is enough DNA of Jiraiya out there to where somebody could have cloned his body. So I mean, I want to know from you guys, how do you feel about that? Would you be okay with this type of a setup? Let me know down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.